Hi, this is Alan from Alpus Group. I'm going to discuss today Alpus Guide how to pre-qualify design consultants, contractors, subcontractors. This is a massive project, so you might well require Alpus Guide on how to pre-qualify design consultants, contractors, subcontractors and trade contractors for such a project. Overview. Firstly, we need to discuss a few principles so you can see what is the point of this article. Surely you can just select the right specialist to carry out the work based on the price they offer. It's as simple as that, isn't it? Well, the answer to that question is that it is definitely not as simple as that. Have we got your attention? We need to consider the contracting procurement strategy or project contracting strategy, i.e. you need to consider how you will procure all the project components in order to answer this subject in a lot more detail. And the larger and more complex your project is, then the more consideration you need to give to your contract procurement strategy. Contracting procurement strategy or project contracting strategy, whatever you want to call it, you need to start from a helicopter eye view of your project and what are its objectives. How do you propose to purchase all the components parts? This is so that you can achieve the best economies of scale and also the most efficient way of working with lowest risk to delivery of the end product. Fundamentally, there are 7 scenarios where you need to pre-qualify contractors of one sort or another. Firstly, a turnkey project. You have a large complex project and you'd like someone to give you a turnkey offer. For example, you have an industrial or commercial facility. There are a limited pool of suitable specialist contractors with the capability, both technical and financial, and the necessary skilled technical specialist resources to carry out your project. Examples would be gas or combined power or nuclear power stations or process plants. Secondly, you've got a main contractor for construction of a design you've prepared separately. So you've commissioned a design team to complete a coordinated design for a particular building or civil engineering project, secure all the necessary approvals such as planning permission and all the associated reserve matters and building control approvals so that you can give the main contractor the complete detailed design for implementation by the main contractor. Procurement of designers. In order to prepare drawings and specifications for a multidisciplinary design, then you need to either procure and appoint individual designers such as an architect, structural and civil engineer, mechanical engineer for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, electrical engineer and specialist designers that may be required such as specialist lighting, designers for internal or external lighting, landscape architects, sometimes town planning consultants, acoustic consultants, specialist geological survey companies, sound engineering, specialist environmental consultants, etc., etc. Alternatively, you could choose to use a multidisciplinary design consultancy such as one of the big design companies, for example, Building Design Partnership, Michael Orchid, Arup, Atkins, McDonald, Jacobs, etc. Cost control consultants. Usually a quantity surveyor or cost control consultant is required in order to coordinate with each of the design consultants and with the main contractor to monitor and forecast all of the project cost expenditure and to report to the client and project manager regarding the cost expenditure actual versus budget and forecast of the anticipated final cost of the project. Project or construction management consultant. It would be tempting to think that if you appoint all the necessary design consultants and contractors, then they would automatically cooperate and collaborate together in order to deliver your project in the optimum time, to quality and within budget. That can only be described as wishful thinking because each of the companies that you appoint will have its own priorities regarding which projects it will carry out first, not necessarily yours, and those to which it will allocate the highest priority resources in order to complete the necessary works, and that again may not necessarily be yours. Especially on larger projects, it is essential to appoint a project or construction manager, and depending on the procurement or contracting strategy, their role may be tailored to usually either project or construction management, although the role can sometimes be extended to include development management, i.e. the whole of the project management for a development project, including dealing with funding and finance and all stakeholders. Trade contractors. These specialist contractors carry out work packages for a client when a construction manager is appointed by the client or owner rather than a main contractor. So the construction manager manages all of the trade contractors and certifies progress payments to the client or owner. The construction manager also supervises the works on site and manages and coordinates all the activities of design and construction. The scope of works of a trade contractor's work package may be design or construction, or it could be both design and construction. The construction manager must manage the interfaces between the packages for information as well as physical interfaces. Arguably, by adopting a construction management approach with trade contractors, it may be possible to achieve savings on expenditure in the region of up to 10%, but this will really vary depending on the project. And some cases, a contractor may be more suitable. Design and build contract. In this scenario, a client or owner will prepare employer's requirements documents to reflect the outcomes that he requires in terms of aesthetics, functionality, and specification of the built asset. Usually the client will prepare a preliminary design only and specify all his requirements within the employer's requirements document. The tendering contractors offer contractors proposals of what they consider will satisfy the employer's requirements, and their obligation is to deliver the whole of the designs in detail and the physical implementation of the project. There is usually a negotiation to finalize the agreed contract, which may be a compromise between the employer's requirements as originally stated and the contractor's proposals, which may not be exactly what the client or owner requires. This could be for any number of reasons, and contractors will sometimes propose cheaper alternatives for parts of the construction for the client's consideration. Design and build contractors' tenders usually take longer to prepare and to submit, and therefore cost the bidding contractors more money. Usually there's a limited number of tenderers for the work appropriate to the capital value. The contractor has greater control once a contract is agreed. Variations or changes to the original agreed contract may take longer to implement and require negotiation regarding their impact. With goodwill on both sides, these can be agreed without major impact on the delivery schedule. What is pre-qualification and why do you need it? Pre-qualification is needed because tendering is an expensive and time-consuming process, and you do not want to waste time allowing tenders from companies that are not suitable or qualified to carry out the sort of work and the scale of development under consideration. This usually involves checking a company's financial capability, their track record, turnover, financial soundness, which may also involve assessing their current and future workload and what impact award of the contract under consideration could have. Every pre-qualified tender should be a contractor who you would be prepared to award the contract to after tender. How to find a contractor or subcontractor. Sometimes you can invite suitable contractors from your own knowledge of their capabilities and from your own experience of dealing with them and how they performed on past projects. Sometimes you can get recommendations from other members of your design and consultancy team for nominations to undertake the pre-qualification process from their recent experience with certain contractors. You may decide to advertise and invite expressions of interest in tendering for the project from suitably qualified and experienced contractors. You need to spend time in order to research who may be the most suitable contractors for your tender list, so as to get the best competition and the most suitable candidate to perform the works. How to vet or pre-qualify a contractor or subcontractor. You can prepare a pre-qualification questionnaire for all interested contractors to complete and submit for consideration by you and your team of designers and managers. You can ask for references from past clients and also seek testimonials from satisfied customers of contractors seeking qualification for tender. It is common to have a variety of contractors or subcontractors who say they would like to bid for your scope of works. It is usual to score them based on the most relevant criteria applicable to your project, such as financial soundness and profitability recently, usually the last 3 years, but sometimes more for larger projects. Current and future workload, you would not want to further overload an already fully committed contractor or subcontractor. Health and safety records, systems and processes. Quality assurance and control systems and processes. Budget conformance, final accounts of recent past projects versus original tender amounts. Time schedule conformance, is the contractor or subcontractor frequently late? Claims performance, you'll want to avoid contractors who regularly make claims. What to do when problems arise with your contractor or subcontractor. Problems may arise at any stage in a project and sometimes are not related to the project itself, but may have been caused by economic conditions or payment problems from other projects, resulting in cash flow difficulties for the contractor. There needs to be good communication with the contractor about what is the real cause of the problem and what can be done to help resolve it. This is a situation where leadership is needed, good relationships and honesty about the real problems and what may be able to be done in order to resolve the issues. Contractor insurance, licenses, warranties, guarantees and bonding. Public liability insurance is mandatory for building contractors and subcontractors, and the amount depends on the scale of the work involved and the specific terms and conditions of the contract. Professional indemnity insurance will be required for any design work that may be carried out by the contractor. On some occasions, especially on larger projects, a contractor will be required to submit a performance bond, which the client has available to draw down if the contractor fails to perform the project in accordance with the contract terms and conditions. Warranties are usually required for any specialist designs and installations, and these need to be collateral so that they may be passed to the owner or client upon completion and handover of the works. Specific requirements should be identified in the tender documents. You should check that all of the contractor's insurances are valid and up to date, i.e. that the current year's subscription has been paid by the contractor. The contract terms and conditions. If possible, you should give the tendering contractors as much information as possible about the proposed terms and conditions of the contract that are proposed. It may be that certain contractors could be swayed whether or not to tender based on this information, so the sooner you know that you have some serious bidders, the better. For example, a large amount of damages for late completion may be a disincentive for a contractor to offer if he considers this to be an unacceptable risk. The benefits of contractor prequalification. The benefits of contractor prequalification are that 1. All pre-qualified contractors have voluntarily submitted their prequalification information and may be deemed to want to bid. Secondly, the process will highlight the strengths and weaknesses of pre-qualified contractors so that some may not be invited to proceed and submit a tender. 3. The client and design team can score pre-qualified contractors and decide what factors may definitely preclude contractors from bidding, for example, health and safety deficiencies in a railway or other similar HSQE environment. If you have a problem project and would like to discuss an appropriate procurement strategy for your project, then call Alan on +44 7539 141257 or +44 333 224 1257. You can schedule a call with me on https:/calendly.com/AlanJE or drop an email to alan@alpusgroup.com. Cheers for now.